Alright guys, welcome back to All Things Outdoors, and today we're out here at the beach again. Black Walnut. Pretty nice day. Got a nice breeze coming out of the east, probably about 10 to 15 miles an hour. And I built this little pool thingy here. And here we have the intake where all the water goes into the pool so that they can continue to get oxygen and fresh water. And then the output here, where all the water comes out, and it looks like it needs to be redug. That's pretty easy. As you can see now, the water here can come out. So we have a constant flow of new water coming in and out of the pool. And then for decorations, I've got some reeds here and some other reeds that don't have blooms. These ones have blooms, and I'm using them for trees, kind of. And then I have those reeds there for just to look like reeds. And then these are marsh elder bush branches that I found in the creek here, and I took them and then I stuck them here to use as other trees that have broadleaves instead of that. And then to keep the fish from getting out, because we do have fish in here, the Mummichogs, which are basically minnows. They're a type of, their other name is mud minnow, and the reason why they're called Mummichogs is because, or mud minnows, is because in the wintertime when it gets cold out, then they actually can burrow underneath the ground into the sand and mud to hibernate, I guess. I don't know if fish hibernate anyway, but they might. But yeah, and they can burrow into mud and sand and stuff. And then I have a blue crab somewhere in here. I don't know where it went. We'll have to find that soon. And here we have the two halves of my minnow trap that I'm using to keep them from getting out. And then the Mummichogs, or mud minnows, are actually a pretty important species in the bay here, because they can actually, they're actually a pretty good food fish. They're a good food species of animal for many predators that can eat them, because they are so easy to catch and they're so common, and they're a smaller fish, so more animals can eat them. Herons and egrets and all sorts of different animals eat them. And we have our crab in here that I'm going to try and get out of the reeds. See, he is right there. Blue crab. We've already talked about them in our channel, but we have not talked about the Mummichogs, so we're talking about them today. So the Mummichog is a species of fish, and they live they're pretty widespread fish. They live they can live like pretty much all up and down the East Coast, I believe. And they are a shallow water fish. They don't live out in the open seas. They kind of stay close to shore, and you usually would never find them more than 100 feet from shore. So they're pretty much a shore-dwelling fish. They don't leave the shore and shallow waters much. And I love the Black Walnut Creek here because it's got a lot of good hiding spots for them. So I built this pool here for them. And we will let them go after a little while. There they are, crowding around the rocks. Sometimes they try to get out there and there. We put the little sticks there to help keep them from getting in there, but it doesn't really work that well. They still get out. They still try to get out anyway. Up. See if they do. Yep. They are trying to get out. And here we have some rocks there that they hide under sometimes, and their main hiding area is here, these reeds that they like to hide under. They stay in there. There they are, the whole school.
You don't want them to get stuck in there.
And we have the trees. They kind of stay in the middle of the pool a lot. They don't really move. They're not huge swimmers. And these are a bit of a wider body fish. They're not very fast. They're more of a slower species of fish, but they're still pretty fast. I mean, they are fish, so most fish are pretty fast. I've never really met a slow fish. There they are. And they're pretty good at camouflaging. And if we pick one up here, let's see if we can get one. Whoop. They are hard to catch. So they're very skittish. Here. Let's see if we can catch one. Oh, the crab's bringing it into action now. Oh, we got one. So here you can see they are brown on top, and we want to make sure he stays wet. They cannot stay out of the water very long. Is he brown? He's brown on top. Whoa. Got him back. Got him in the water too. And you can see he's white on the bottom, and this one's probably pregnant. It's brown on the top and then white on the bottom, and that's to help, that's basically called counter shading. So what it is so that if you have a predator, say a crab like him, see he stays on the bottom of the bay. So he'll be looking up, and he'll see the white, because like when you look underwater and then you look up, directly up, straight up towards the air, then it looks kind of whitish, very bright because of the sun. So the white coloring of the belly will blend in with that. And then if you have, say, a bird or something like that looking down from above the water, you'll see the brown tan colored sand. As you can see, they're pretty much sand colored. They blend in very well with the sand for the birds that eat them. And they're actually a pretty well adaptable fish. These actually live in New York City Harbor. They're extremely pollution tolerant, and they're extremely tolerant to a lot of different water conditions. They can have either almost fresh water or extremely salty water, and they can have very warm water. They can have extremely low oxygen levels, and this was actually the first fish species that they brought to space, and some of them actually survived. So pretty tough species of fish when they were in space. They didn't have too many problems. It took a while for them to figure out how to swim in zero gravity, but other than that, pretty easy. As you can see, they are pretty crowded together, and they like to stay in large schools. Yeah, and in New York City, they did a study on these. They actually discovered that in 50 years, their DNA changed to make them more tolerant to all the pollution that was in New York City Harbor, which is pretty cool for the Mummichogs. Pretty interesting little fish here. Very, very cool. I love these guys. But anyway, that's going to be about all for today's video. So once again, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And be sure to put that down in the comments below for a shout out. And we will see you guys on the next adventure.